every state gets the right to vote. The Federation pays to bring one member, a voting delegate from every state board, because we don't want budgetary constraints to hinder you. We want you to exercise your vote, so we pay to bring you in. So, attorneys are welcome. They often.
Can I ask you 2 questions?
Please,
Can we
yes.
turn on the lights, please?
Is the presentation over?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
The question slide usually moves over.
That was just the abridged version. I know.
You know, I'd like to ask some questions that I think some board members do. But then, since it's a small group, I might ask some of the public to ask some questions too, since you're here 5 years, it's been time. My first question is, I know it's called the massage and body work licensing exam. Well, how much body work is this?
That was an acknowledgement. There was a little table I had in here to acknowledge that whether one is practicing massage or body work, there is no significant difference
No difference. So
what's practiced. So we did that to acknowledge, because the states are being kind of harassed or, annoyed by people saying, well, we're body work, we're not massage, we need to be exempt from language, when in fact they're not. And the Massage Therapy Body of Knowledge came out last year, or was it the year before, and said all massage is body work, but not all body work is massage. So it's really tipping our hats to acknowledge that body workers are part of this community.
the only issue in this state is our law specifically excludes certain body work. So,
but the exam itself is not about like what, I don't know, strokes or something do body workers do. It's not a technique specific exam. So it's not that it wouldn't be applicable to them. It is. And even if you're just taking the massage therapy portion of the community, the exam is still definitely applicable. It's not, it's included in terms of what they're actually doing, but it's not about the practice. Like we wouldn't ask about what does gallbladder 12 do or something. It's not the specific technique. That would be a certification board type of a question, not the licensing exam type of question.
my next question is language. I know you say it's in English and Spanish. What's the reason for the Spanish and not other languages? Because I know people are going to ask.
Sure. Well, it was initially launched in English only, and then Puerto Rico is now licensing. They were just in a grandfathering phase. And so by law, the law in Puerto Rico, the statute, they need to have it in Spanish for their constituency. So they asked us to add Spanish, which we did. It was a member board request. But the Federation Board of Directors decided that it wouldn't just be limited to people applying for a license in Puerto Rico, that if other states wanted to use it, they could. And as you can see, Florida and Texas are big, probably even more than Puerto Rico actually, as it turns out, big consumers of the Spanish language one. But
There hasn't been requests by boards for other languages. I'm just
absolutely not. No. I mean, it would be hugely expensive for one thing, but secondarily, there's no, real need for it. I mean, the schools are testing in English, and what you may do is open up the door for, traffickers as well.
I just remember when the bill was written, it was sponsored by a representative who was against an exam simply because it wasn't going to be in another language. I just remember that conversation. So it's just English and Spanish.
Correct.
My questions were also answered, so.
Is there any questions from the?
I have a question.
Well,
Hey, Alexi Levine, I met you. I run a couple of schools. The cost issue is pretty big. It already costs about $450 if you include insurance to get licensed in the state.
let's just talk about the cost of the exam.
Okay, so now that you guys are doing a lot of exams and bringing in $5 million a year or something, that's what my calculator said. Any chance the price could go down or grants could be given to needy students?
No, our mission, our reason for existence is to serve the state licensing board. So if we had surplus funds, it wouldn't be, to do scholarships for needy students. It would be, so now we can do the disciplinary database for the state boards. Now we can do the continuing education for the state boards. The cost is $195. But just to be clear, you know, the Federation isn't just rolling in the dough here. We have to pay people to process the applications. We outsource that. We pay Pearson VUE, you know, big money because we use the high stakes, high security test centers. So, you know, that money is going out too. It's not, I mean, we set it as the lowest possible price point that we could to still keep the lights on, and 5 years later, you know, the price has not gone up, and I don't anticipate it going up again. Now, that said, the way our system works, our membership can come to the delegate assembly and say, let's revisit the price of the exam. I mean, they could say it could go up, or they could say it could go down, but it wouldn't go neither up nor down without our members, without the state boards deciding that. So.
Any other?
Yep, I have a question. Mary White, president of the Massachusetts chapter of the American Massage Therapy Association. I did have other questions. Your presentation was great, and most of them, in fact, almost all of them were answered. But portability is certainly one of the things that we have envisioned for many years, and it's one of the things that places the Federation and blacks, you know, in good stead with so many of the states. With the 41 states that are using MBLEX, how has that portability worked out? Is it working out yet? It's in place?
Yeah.
Well,
it is. I mean, we already have evidence because we've been around. The
That's
MBLEX
what I'm
was launched
looking
in
for.
2007. Yeah, therapists who, you know, didn't know at the time they finished school, but now wanted to move to Oregon and get married or something can now do it. They don't have to take another exam. So no, I mean, I will say frequently get candidates calling us just to say thank you. I mean, it's really made a difference in their lives. They're like our poster children.
and so that works with regard to, I move to any one of the Texas, and I go apply for my license, and because I have my MBLEX as an entry level, that state will accept.
Yeah. You have to apply to the specific state for the license, but the exam score moves with you. You don't have to pay us. That, by the way, $195, that includes, you know, applying, processing the application, your testing time, getting your score report, sending a score report to the state board, and then holding your scores in perpetuity, basically, for whenever you decide to move around the country and move to another state board. So, you know, that there's more than just that one-stop shopping fee. That includes our database management and so forth, holding it. But yeah, it's just one time. You don't have to come back and pay us any more money or meet any standards. That's your licensing exam. You demonstrated that competence.
So, but that presupposes that you meet the licensing requirements in the other jurisdiction, and it could be, among other things, that you've maintained the licensing good standing, say, in Massachusetts. So, but it would be true if it's the same exam is required in both jurisdictions, that would be portable, as long as other state licensure requirements are met.
Correct. And there are some states, for example, like, well, Puerto Rico uses it exclusively. If you move to North Carolina, they only use the MBLEX. I'm trying to think, I'm blank now. Arkansas only uses the MBLEX. So that's the way the states are moving. And really, if any certification exams, and I'm not just talking about NCB, but any others, are still on the books, they're kind of by attrition just phasing out. Another example recently is the Asian bodywork therapy certification exam used by a few states, a couple of states, is now going away. They're abolishing the whole program. So what are the constituents supposed to do who decided that that was the certification exam they wanted? Now the regulatory boards are liable because they've got something on their books that, because they're at the mercy of an independent certification board, whereas the MBLEX is yours. You're not going to, I mean, the regulatory boards are not going.
Could I have like part B of the same question? Yeah, so I guess that brings up a point to me. Should our board move forward with this? So the question kind of goes to both the board and to Deborah, is that what about people who are already licensed, have not taken an MBLEX test, and then are going to move to another state? So there's no like grandfathering method? I mean, are people going to be required to take the MBLEX, or we just move forward, this is the date that the MBLEX is, and so all the rest of us then will figure it out should we ever move state to state? That's a question I'm going to be asked from my members, so I just would like to have an answer.
So the answer is the same, that the licensure requirements for other states are the requirements for other states. And so the way that I said, the exam is the exam.
Yep.
So if you haven't taken the exam here and there's a requirement of an examination in the other state, then you would have to use that
So
requirement.
it's just from
to
this
be
day
licensed.
forward and blacks, and then anything before is just, okay. All right, thank you.
Mark Malloy, representing AMTA, and very nice presentation. I had a couple questions for you. One, you mentioned laws and regulations being covered in one of the slides. How is that covered, particularly since Massachusetts, for example, might treat
Right.
patients under or clients under the age 18 different? It's different in every state. So how do you guys actually really
It's
test
very
it?
broad-based, so it's not, some states have their own little jurisprudence exam just to cover their own rules and regs so people can't plead ignorance when they come before the licensing board. It's very broad-based in terms of, the mandate to report child abuse if you see it, or treating a minor and that you need parental consent. So it's not specific to each jurisdiction. We wouldn't be able to because it's a nationally used exam. So yeah, I'm sorry if I did misspeak. I shouldn't have said regulations because that would imply the individual jurisdiction, but it's the laws of the land, I guess, Mike.
Exactly. With respect to, and this is kind of a tough one, I don't know if you guys have this, is there anything that you guys have done or any studies you participated in that shows states that use the exam have better discipline rates or anything of that nature?
We have not conducted that research. It's a good question, though.
Again, I'm a lawyer. They might say that about lawyers too. What have they done about you? So, but just a question on that regard. And then,
well, I can tell you that just because somebody has passed the NBLEX, it doesn't prevent them or make them immune from using poor judgment or breaking the law. Not at all, but it's at least a good faith attempt that you can say to your citizens, we tested you, you got this correct in 2012. What's going on with you now? So.
which yeah, absolutely, and that makes sense. In terms of your guys' relationship with the states, the board had talked before about would it be something that the state would conduct a procurement and then you guys would provide the test, or would it be something more of a third-party thing where the state might just change their regulations and say we now require the FSM TV, and then therefore it exists pretty apart and separate, other than for the fact that when they apply and provide their, when an individual applies, they have to have their test score and such like that.
It's not really, maybe it's semantics. I would say we're a vendor. I mean, we're
Right.
you're us and we're you. So this is your own exams. You don't vend yourself, I don't think, but it depends because maybe this jurisdiction has to have a contractual requirement. I mean, we'll do whatever.
In some circumstances, we do have to do a procurement,
Yeah.
so it really is based upon what the board ultimately decides, how, and what the nature of the relationship is going to be. So it's sort of impossible to answer that question right now, but it could go either way.
And then, and thank you. No, thank you. Are there any states that allow voting?
Yes, right now.
I mean,
yeah.
how do you find that from your personal experience? Putting aside, obviously you're here to represent. Is it messy, clean, not useful?
Well, obviously it's my job. I have
Right.
my obligation to help you make informed decisions. I mean, I'm not here to lobby one way or the other. I can tell you what best practices are, but it's your choice. We respect that. From the administrative point of view, from the staffing, it's messy to have different scores coming in with different systems and so forth. But the fact is, even in states where they haven't transitioned out their language because they, to go through the legislative session, it can be time-consuming and it opens up other cans of worms. And there's a plethora of reasons. But like Washington State, they still have a certification NCB on the books, but all the schools in Washington State are using the NBLEX. I mean, the marketplace is using the NBLEX anyway. I mean, 25,000 candidates a year. I don't know where else. New York State is different. They have their own little state exam, but still some people are taking the NBLEX anyway. It helps with their portability ultimately. So. No,
thank you. And the last one, and you can punt on this one because this may be for after, Mr. Chairman, you can call me out line. Okay, I'm yelling. With one of the things that you're looking to do in the future, and it looked kind of very interesting on this regard in terms of online reporting for schools, that schools will be able to go on. Since you guys are the Federation of State Boards, is there something that you guys envision down the road with all that data? If you saw schools that were notoriously, like their members were unable to pass, like 30%, would a flag go up? Do you at that point have a?
It does not for us, because the Federation is, we don't have any authority to, discipline schools or review schools. But some of the states do. I don't know if I should pick out certain states, but they'll say the schools have to get 75% passing rate or something like that. So some of the states do have authority and jurisdiction to oversee the school performance in their state, and we report to those states, but that's their prerogative to do with what they wish, not the Federation.
Oh, I was just curious if that was something. Thank you. Appreciate it.
What other thing?
Yeah, there was just one slide that showed a graph that talked about, I guess it's the individual taking the test, identifying, and I'm not sure when this question comes into play, but whether or not their school education prepared them to practice. And you indicate here that over 90% agree that their education is school. But there was also almost 10% to me that indicated that they slightly agreed or disagreed. And sort of curious as to whether or not you've been able to tease that out a little bit more as to why. I mean, I'm assuming this comes after they've taken the test and sort of an evaluative type of question that they ask at the end of taking the exam, or?
No, actually, and in fact, that's from the job task analysis. I did bring one copy of the results. We have it on our website. I mean, we're very transparent.
Sure,
we publish the JTA for everyone to see. No, that comes from the job task analysis. So it's not anything that we delve further into because we were looking at the tasks. However, that said, for 2012, we are having a component on our job task analysis specifically geared towards educational standards, and we're working with the other national orders, AMTA, ABMP, the Alliance, and I think Compton, but to kind of once and for all, or at least start to ascertain what constitutes a quality entry-level education for this profession. Because it's more of a tossed salad than a melting pot, really, in massage in this country. And people have their own ideas, but nobody's ever collected the data on it. So the Federation will be addressing that precise issue and, delving deeper. But in 2007, no, we did not.
Well, I certainly want to thank you for coming and making
My
this
pleasure.
presentation.
Thank you.
I'm really pleased with the comments on special accommodations, and it appears that that's an issue that hasn't been addressed by other exams. So I think that's important.
Absolutely, we've had everything.
I appreciate that, and with that, we thank you very much.
Sure, my pleasure. Glad to be representing you. You keep me straight, right?